nobody sees great imagination by looking at the ground. But when you look at the sky, you can see something different every time you look at it.
Morning, I'm Bill Harrison, the president of the EAA Warbirds of America. We're talking this morning about this little helicopter behind me, which is the Hiller Hornet.
I got a love for the old airplanes and always have wanted to fly them. And then when I found that I was able to do that, I started out with a T6 and worked my way through a T6 and a Mustang and a Sea Fury and the ME-109 and just a little bit of everything.
Okay, and you were the owner of the plane? Or
No, I used to be the owner of the airplane. I found this one at a duster strip in Dothan, Alabama in 1978.
I was born in 1933, the depths of the Depression. My mother and father they both worked at the bank in Waco, Texas. Neither one of them had a college degree.
We interrupt this broadcast and bring you this important bulletin from the United Press. Flash, Washington. The White House announces Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
And Pearl Harbor was on a Sunday, and my mother and father went with me, and we went to church. And after church, we decided to go to the movie. And we went to the Orpheum Theater in Waco, Texas. And when we walked out of the Orpheum, there was a newsboy on the street hollering, selling extras that the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor. My father went to school at night and on weekends, and he subsequently ended up, got enough college education to where he got a commission and went in the Navy in World War II. And I remember the day that he left for the Navy, October the 11th, 1942, standing on the railway platform in Waco, Texas, watching that train disappear. I break up just thinking about it. I had my little sailor suit on, and my mom was there crying. To me, war was the 10 soldiers, and if you knocked one down, you picked it up, and they played again. It doesn't work that way. Well, during the war in Waco, Texas, it was probably like most other relatively small towns. It went on. Most everybody had somebody who was gone. A lot of families had gold stars in their windows for somebody who was dead. I didn't know any better. Growing up during World War II, I was really focused on the patriotic aspect. I still am. I get tears in my eyes and when they play taps and all of the things that are going on now and have been going on during my lifetime. When my dad came home from the service, he knew a gentleman in Waco named Skeet Eason who had a Piper Cub, and it was right, I guess, 1946 or 47, and he took me for a ride. And I thought that was great. So I was hooked. And I always figured that I would learn to fly. I told my dad if he asked me what I wanted to do, I said, I want to go to the Naval Academy and be a Navy pilot. He said, there's no future in that, son. In those days, you believed your dad. They never told you anything except the truth, right? So I said, oh, well, what do you think I ought to do? And he said, why don't you be a doctor? I thought, okay, I'll try that. When I started to college in 1950, the Korean War, I started in September, the war started in June before that. And everybody was worried about getting drafted and not being able to complete school. But they would give me a delay to finish my training after medical school. So I had to study while I really didn't know whether to study or pack, because I had orders to active duty all the way through medical school. And they were in the Army, and the reason I picked the Army at that time was because the Navy didn't like me. And my commanding officer was a Navy admiral. And we had the Air Force right there with us, and then the Army, and it was all together. So I would go fly with anybody that I could ride with. I started taking lessons, and there was a little airport grass strip. We had some of the early Cessna 150s. So I went out and started taking lessons, and I soloed after 4 hours. Remember, I was flying out of a grass strip, uncontrolled, didn't have to worry about airplanes or people. All I had to worry about was getting it on the ground. I thought, man, I've got this made. Every year in aviation, I've learned how little I know. Finally got enough time and money to work at it seriously, and I got my pilot's license in 1962. And that was when I joined the EAA.
Bill is a great aviation enthusiast, not only about warbirds and him giving the B-17 to EAA, supporting the movement. He's a very sincere individual, soft-spoken, and which is evident, and loves people.
Now, I think it is fair to say that there's never been an airplane he didn't like, nor one that he wouldn't be interested in flying. I think that's part of what gave him such a love of aviation and a love of trying to work with the museum to make it all that it could be.
If I summarized Bill Harrison's contributions to EAA and EAA Warbirds of America, the list is very long, but the major things that we think of for Bill would be, of course, the B-17 is the foremost of his legacy.
You know, I met him in the course of flying, learned about
from the B-17 effort, what he'd done and how he brought that to EAA. The breadth of Bill's contributions, the extent to which I think he's shown amazing persistence and dedication and leadership. And for many, people younger than he, like myself, he's been a mentor. He's been somebody that I admire, I look up to, I learn from, take counsel from. Bill's just made incredible contributions in so many ways that I hope they could be captured and shared with an audience that would appreciate it.
You have the Eagle Hangar, the National Warbird Operators Conference. He was involved with the donation of the Corsair. Bill has done so much as a director. He served as president of Warbirds of America, and the foundation that he laid for the rest of us coming along and years later. And he continues to work with the Warbird board tirelessly. We have a lot to thank Bill for.
I truly loved practicing medicine. When I put myself into something, I generally put 100% or more. And it had a good career in medicine. I did well in surgery. I was able to help people. Got great satisfaction from helping people.
Well, he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't know just the Warbirds. This is the thing you got to remember. There's some people on the board that never have the opportunity to serve maybe on the EAA board or on the big picture. Bill has served every inch of it, top, bottom, side, movement, coming up, hard times, good times, accidents, insurance problems, you name it. He's been there, so he's got the experience. Flying is his love, and been able to survive it like I have. And that rascal called me one day and he said, "You got to come over here. I've got this dog. I got this schnauzer that you just got to have him." A little black dog. And said the people wanted to put him to sleep. They were moving to California and said they wasn't allowed to have a dog where they're going, so they want to put him away. Well, that hit Bill's heart. You don't put no dog away. Bill lives on a grass strip that most people, I don't think would go in there much, but I had a Navajo, so I went in there went out there with half gas. And he finally taught me to come. I flew out there to Oklahoma and landed on his strip and spent the night. And it was nice to watch everybody standing around the next day wanting to see me come out of there. But me and my dog come home.
As Bill has fought for various causes and issues over the years, he's found a way to do it persistently, delicately, pleasantly, but none of those words overshadow the fact that one didn't know where Bill stood. And then of all things, it turned out the P-51 that I own was a P-51 that he had in fact raced, and if only for 1 year, but it had had an interesting racing career with Ed Weiner.
I grew up in the 30s, and that was the height of, the golden age of air racing of various types. And I knew what was going on. I built models and so forth. But then when I got started in aviation for myself, and I just had the real bug to go to the races. And all of my friends with whom I had been flying fighters in the Warbird movement thought I was crazy. At that time, nobody was racing. But when I took a stock airplane out there and, took third in the bronze race, and you're all by yourself in the airplane. You got a lot of people around you, sometimes close. But nevertheless, you are trying to do your very best job to get the most out of that airplane without tearing it up. And I think that's for people who have a sense of adventure and a sense of accomplishment, it gives you both. I think they figured if Bill Harrison can do it, they sure can do it, which is fine with me. I don't care that it was, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. As I get older, I know that sooner or later I will have to quit, and that's okay. I've done things that other people don't even have the guts to dream about. And it's hard to even think back to all the things because some of them were just part of me. And I just feel like I have been very, very fortunate to have lived the life I've lived.
He's the kindest, most generous, sensitive person that I've ever met. He married me with 4 children under the age of 9 and raised them. They think of him as their father. And he thinks of them as his children. He has been a wonderful father. He's a wonderful grandfather. He loves animals. He doesn't even squash spiders. He's that kind and sensitive. He's an excellent pilot. To watch Bill fly or do surgery, either one, he moves slowly. His hands never go fast. They're very methodical, and you just feel that he is in control. And it's never panicked, never, even in emergencies, which I was in plenty of them with him, he never loses control. He's a wonderful person.
Most of all, I would like to thank the woman who, for the last 15 years, has allowed me to have 2 very jealous mistresses, one aviation and one medicine, and has even been able to share my passion for aviation and particularly old warbirds, my wife Charlotte. Thank you all very much.
Bill, as this film gets wrapped up, just remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with you. We're with you always, and thank you. Keep them flying.